4 races over the course of the weekend. There'll be plenty for the fans and the drivers to get excited about. The NASCAR Grand Prix of the Czech Republic also marks the halfway point of the 2019 season. Close racing and pure racing are guaranteed. But when the checker flag falls, who will claim the win? Well, welcome back to Autodrome Most here in the Czech Republic for the first ever weekend of racing for the NASCAR Wheel and Euro Series in the Czech Republic. The first visit, actually, to Eastern Europe. This fantastic facility, which first opened in 1983. Renovations started in 1995, and again in 2004. The circuit was brought up to current safety standards with another refurbishment. The crowds are here in their thousands under absolutely clear blue skies to enjoy some racing. The Elite 1 division cars are there on the grid, and you can see just how busy it is with the teams and the VIPs and the guests. And look at the heat haze that we've got here in the Czech Republic. It's warm today. It's due to be at least another 10 degrees warmer tomorrow, so it is going to be very, very warm indeed. Around this fantastic circuit, it's one of the longer circuits that we visit in the NASCAR Wheel and Euro Series. It is 2.6 miles long. That equates to 4.22 kilometres. And it's a nice flowing course as well. 17 corners shown on the graphics, but there are a couple of them that aren't actually identified there. So in reality, it's 21 corners for the drivers to get used to. And some of the key corners around turn 6 and turn 7, as it's labelled there on the graphic. Key corners because you carry the momentum coming off those corners around the rest of the circuit. We do have one Czech driver that joins us on the grid this weekend. He's racing both in the race that we see heading out now, which is the Elite 1 division, but he'll also be out in the Elite 2 division as well. And that is local driver Martin Dubek. So let's go on board his car and have a look round a lap around this circuit at Autodrome Most.
Loris, second place in the first ever NASCAR Wheel and Euro Series race here at Most. What do you expect?
I mean, hopefully a good race. I think it will be really tight, especially given that, P2 by, I think it was 32 hundredths of a second. So it's going to be really close between me and the 24, but we know that Alan is behind us. I mean, he obviously has to score for the championship points. Stines is also there. So I think we're going to make it a good four-way battle.
What it is like to drive in such conditions? It's very hot in here.
I mean, I'm fit enough, so I have no problem with it. But for sure, it's a bit tougher than normally. But we adapt to it and we make the best of it.
And what do you think about the track? It's the first time ever for the NASCAR Wheel and Euro Series here at Most. What do you like it?
Yeah, I love it. I think it's a mega cool track, especially with the new asphalt, mega fast. So I'm really enjoying these type of tracks more than ever.
Thank you very much, Loris Hazemans. We're going back to Mark.
Thanks a lot. Good to hear from Loris Hazemans there. We'll bring you the onboard lap from Martin Dubek in a short while. But what I want to do is introduce my guest that joins me in the, well, I'm going to say it in inverted commas, the commentary box here at Most. Welcome along to the youngest ever driver we've had in the NASCAR Wheel and Euro Series. Only 16 years of age. Ben Kriener joins me in the commentary box. Welcome along, Ben.
Yeah, thank you. It's very good to get another perspective of the races, you know. Usually I'm either with the team on the pit wall or behind the wheel myself, so to get the chance to do something else this year, it's a good experience for sure.
I suppose every circuit that you go to on the calendar is a new circuit for you this year.
Yeah, it is, and that sort of adds to the challenge, but I'll rise to that challenge. It's enjoyable, and just getting experience at all these different tracks helps me a lot, so.
Okay, so we'll hear a bit more from Ben Kriener shortly. Let's head back down to Andre, who's on the grid, to have a chat to Nicola Rocca.
Nicola Rocca, it was your first pole position in 4 years here in the NASCAR Wheel and Euro Series. What do you expect today?
Yeah, I mean, starting from pole, you have only one thing in the head. So we're going to try and win this. I'm going to push as hard as I can. It's going to be a hot day, so it's going to be tough, challenging with the tires and everything. But I'm sure that it's going to be a nice and clean fight between the first couple of guys. So looking forward to it. Going to have fun.
All right, what are the key corners here at Most? It's the first time ever for the NASCAR Wheel and Euro Series. Where are the special spots here?
Yeah, apparently I was looking at the times in qualifying. There was a big difference between the first two and the rest in the last two corners. So it might be that they're quite challenging. And the rest, yeah, it's quite a technical track. So in general, it's quite a difficult track to be fast in, and it's easy to make mistakes. So I'm going to be fully focused not to make any during the race.
Thank you so much, pole setter Nicola Rocca. Back to Mark.
Thanks a lot. So great to hear from both Loris Hazemans and Nicola Rocca. Now let's go and have a look at an on-board lap with Martin Dubek.
Hello NASCAR fans, I'm Martin Dubek and let's watch my onboard video here in Max Motion NASCAR Show 2019 in Most. So let's start. The first corner is turn right. It's really difficult to find braking zone here. Second gear brakes, turn right, jump over the curb, use the curb. Full throttle, use the outside curb. Little bit move on inside, full gas, third gear, fourth gear, brake really hard, second gear, jump over the curb, use inside curb, full throttle, jump over the curb again, full throttle, and brake really hard. Second gear, full throttle. This corner it will be really nice for overtaking, full throttle, fourth gear, and we are going to the fastest corner. Third gear, brakes, full throttle, use the curb. Now go up to the hill. Brakes. Second gear, use the curb inside. Move to inside. Use the curb, full throttle now. Third gear, use the curb. Full throttle, fourth gear. And we are going to the last corner. It'll be a really nice zone for overtaking. Brake really hard. Second gear. Use the curb. Full throttle. Full throttle. Third gear. Hello Ariana. Full throttle. And here we are. Thank you NASCAR fans. I hope that you enjoy my onboard video. And I hope you will cross fingers for me.
Well, there'll be lots of the local fans here that will have their fingers crossed for Martin Dubek. He is the only Czech driver represented on the grid. In the background, we can hear the Czech national anthem playing and all of the teams observing that in what is a very, very special weekend here. Loris Hazemans starts on the outside of the front row of the grid. We heard from Nicola Rocca, Ben Kriener, who joins me in the commentary box. It's only his 5th pole position. Last time he was on pole was 4 years and 2 days ago when he scored 4 back-to-back pole positions in the NASCAR Wheeling Euro Series in 2015.
That is mighty impressive, I must say. I was quite a lot younger back then. But yeah, something like that is that's a big achievement, and I'm pretty sure that he's going to be happy to sort of break that long streak of being without pole positions. But he's been on the pace all season. The 24 has always been a car to beat, so I'm not sure he's going to be completely ecstatic because you found him at that end all season long, but I'm sure he'll have a lot of confidence going into this race.
So let's guide you through the grid then. You can see it on the screen. Front row of the grid, number 24 Nicola Rocca and 50 Loris Hazemans. Row 2 of the grid sees 54 Alan Day in his Chevrolet line up against the Chevy in the hands of number 11 Stinis Longines. Alan Day is the reigning champion. Stinis Longines, the former Elite 2 champion. Formula 1 world champion from 1997. Jacques Villeneuve lines up at the wheel of the number 32 Go Fast Racing Chevy on row number 3 alongside Luc Elacer, who is the 2009-2010 champion for Michi Motors. The number 33 car, Ben, is the car you drive in Elite 2.
It is, yeah, and we've had a bit of an on-off season. This seems to be one of our better weekends. We had a very good run in Spain, Brands Hatch as well. Italy, we struggled quite a lot with the car, but we're getting faster as the year goes on.
Luca will be very pleased with 6th. What progress can he make from there? 7th on the grid, and the inside of row number 4 is another former Elite 2 champion, which is Tomo Ferrando, and alongside Tomo Ferrando, that is where we see Sebastian Bleeky-Molen. Row 5 of the grid, Francisco Cini and Christophe Bouchou, and row 6 is Henry Tuamala and Fred Gabillon. Row 7, Alexander Graf and Gianmarco Ercoli. Row 8, Ander Villarino and Ulysse Delso. Row 09 is Salvador Tinio Arroyo alongside 88, which is Romain Iniesta. And the final 3 rows of the grid, number 7, Martin Dubec and 2, Kenko Mura. 98, Eric Dodonka and 31, Mauro Trione. And the final row of the grid, 99, Ellen Law and number 8, Dario Carzo. So there we can see the pole sitter, Nicola Rocca, about to climb on board the number 24 car. Now, Nicola Rocca, in stark contrast to you, Ben, and I don't mean this in any way, shape or form as being derogatory, but Nicola Rocca has stacks of experience. For you, 16 years of age, you're the youngest driver we've ever had in the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series, and you did your first race earlier on this year, the day after your 16th birthday.
Yeah, that was my first race at Silverstone in a E36 M3. So my experience is definitely lacking in compared to those around me. But you know, I feel like from where I am to where I am now, from where we were in Spain, it's a long way from where we started.
I sort of waxed lyrical about you purely because I think the way that you have conducted yourself since you came into this championship shows a maturity way beyond your years. And for people that are listening out there as well, I know there's a lot of people that enjoy e-racing, and that's the background you've come from, isn't it? Esports racing.
Yeah, so obviously I have experience in the junior formula, like go-karts and a bit of stock cars as well. But yeah, esports was where I sort of really started to clean things up, and just that's where all my experience came from, you know, and where I taught myself to drive.
So we're about 3 minutes away from those infamous words being uttered on the grid, and then the engines will be fired into life and we'll get 17 laps of racing underway. We heard from Nicola Rocca about some of the key parts of the circuit. Just talk us through, you know, for you, what's the most important section of the circuit? A lot of the drivers are saying coming out of turn number 10 to get the momentum through the fast part.
Yeah, so that end of the track is where you can gain a lot of time, you can also lose a lot of time. That complex sort of from turn 5 to turn 11, it will be very single file. Possibly a move going into turn 6, but people are going to be sort of nice and orderly through there because the track is very narrow. But coming out of turn 3, the cars are left by themselves up until turn 15 at the bridge, because from that point onwards, the spotters can't actually see the cars at all. Yeah. So we're very much on our own, and that's our biggest challenge this weekend, is that usually we're so used to only having one eye on the mirror because the spotters are putting so much information into our ears, you know. But for that half the lap, they're not. So that's going to be the crucial part, because the drivers may make some big lunges because the car they're attacking won't have that help from the spotter to tell them that they're coming. So.
Just tell us about the conditions in the car as well. We can see the spectators enjoying the sunshine, some of them enjoying the sun, some of them enjoying actually the shade, which is not a bad thing. The conditions in our commentary box are rather warm, to say the least. But as a driver inside the car, you know, we're talking probably 70, 80 degrees Fahrenheit inside the car this weekend, surely. Oh,
at least, yeah. It's ridiculously hot in these cars, so you've really got to work on your hydration levels, you know. And obviously that's something that I've learnt throughout the season. I learnt the hard way in Spain, unfortunately, but yeah, it's a big challenge for the drivers. You'll find yourself going to the toilet quite a lot because you've just drank so much water, but it's needed.
And if you look at sort of number 98, which is towards the back of the grid, Eric Dodonka, and number 7, Martin Dubec at his local Grand Prix, both of those doing Elite 1 and Elite 2 this weekend. That is a big ask in these conditions. That is a big ask, yeah. They will struggle potentially. Obviously, I have no idea, but that's going to challenge them quite a lot, because by the end of today, they're going to be absolutely exhausted, and they will need to have drank so much water to stay hydrated. And I suppose it's not just the water. You know, we mentioned this, I think, at Brands Hatch when I had Andre Castro in the commentary box with me as well. It's making sure that you get all of the vitamins and the minerals back in your body as well, because rehydration is only part of it, isn't it? Yeah, exactly. So you've sort of... it is the most crucial part, but as you said, yeah, there are the other aspects of that side as well to stay sorted on. But I think just in general, a lot of the drivers you might see drop off, their pace start to fall away at the end of the race, because 17 laps in these conditions is tough. It's going to be very tough on the cars, it's going to be tough on the drivers. And as the infamous words are given for the drivers to start their engine, it's going to be hard on the tyres as well, because remember, the cars only get for this weekend one brand new set of general tyres. The others are carried over from a previous round. So you get 8 tyres for the weekend, only 4 are brand new. What do you do in these conditions? Because tomorrow it's due to be even hotter. So the general tyre is a fantastic tyre, but in these warm conditions, as we say, with good levels of grip as well from this tarmac here, a lot of the drivers have been complimentary about the tarmac here. Tyre preservation is a consideration when potentially you've got to run this race and another race, as well as qualifying and Super Pole for the top 12, on one set of brand new tyres.
Yeah, you do. So, yeah, the track is actually really nice. A lot of it has been resurfaced recently. But, yeah, a lot of these drivers are going to be playing it really easy, taking it smooth, because these tyres will overheat very quickly. And even by the end of this race, the pace could be 2-3 seconds off what you saw from qualifying. So it's going to be a massive challenge for all the drivers, really, to just keep the tyres in condition, because I think by the end of the races tomorrow, you're going to see a lot of people way off the pace.
Dropping off, yes, the tyres drop off. So there's the front row of the grid, number 24, Nicola Rocca, and number 50. That is first and second in the championship on row number 2. 54, the back-to-back champion, the Israeli Alan Day, who is the reigning champion. That's yellow, number 54, Cal Racing Chevrolet SS, and alongside him is second in the championship, number 11, which is Stinis Longin, who is yet to claim a win in Elite 1. There's only one ever driver in the history of the NASCAR Wheeling Euro Series that has claimed a championship in Elite 2 and then stepped up to Elite 1 and won a race, and that is going to be the number 9 car in the hands of Gianmarco Ercoli. So surely number 11 Stinis Longin can't be far away from that first elusive win. He's had 4 second places already this year, lying second in the championship, 19 points adrift of Alan Day.
Yeah, that's I think he would very much like to go one better today, obviously, but you know, consistency is key. I mean, if he's still that close to Alan, obviously Alan has won 3 races this season. He's not won any, but he's still thereabouts. You can see that he's still having a good season regardless. And at the end of the day, with this series, it's a lot about being consistent. You'll find yourself right at the top end of the standings if you're just thereabout, top 10, top 5, you know. So he's doing a brilliant job, and I think if he can keep this up, he's going to be concerning Alan by the end of the season.
As long as you're there or thereabouts, come the playoffs, that's where the championship is won or lost, and all the drivers know that. Double points once we get to the rounds at the Hockenheimring in Germany and Zolder at Belgium. And I know Stinis Longin, number 11, in about 6 weeks' time is due to become a father for the first time. He's been working on his health, he's been working with his dietitian, he's been working on his fitness, and is fully focused on trying to become the champion for this year. Look who's behind him on the grid, though, the number 32 Go Fast Racing Chevrolet SS of the 1997 Formula 1 World Champion and the Indy 500 winner from 1995, Jacques Villeneuve. Jacques was disappointed. He was happy with qualifying, disappointed with Superpole, he said to me afterwards, because they didn't get time to take pressure out of the tyres before heading out onto Superpole. And he thinks that's what's cost him.
Yeah, I could see some sense to that. You know, the turn-on between the checker flag falling and the green light heading for the Superpole is only 5 minutes, regardless to whether you're back to the pits or not. So. Yeah. It's a really, really small space of time for the teams to make any necessary changes. So, yeah, I can agree with what Jack was saying there, is that his tyres will have been very hot, you know. He
was still smiling, though, when he spoke to me. He said, it is what it is. There's nothing I can do, Mark. So he's just going to push on. So I would say watch out for Jacques Villeneuve in this one. It'd be great to see him back on the podium. He had double podiums at Franciacorta in Italy for rounds 3 and 4 of the championship, where he finished in 3rd place in both of those. But Nicola Rocca on pole position has only had 1 podium so far this year. That came last time out at Brands Hatch, where he finished in 3rd place. He's had 3 5th place, he's had a 6th place, he's had 1 other finish inside the top 10 as well. So the cars are getting themselves already in neat 2x2 order, and now you're at the point really where there's no more you can do. You've warmed the tyres, you've warmed the brakes, you've got yourself in the zone, Ben, and you're ready to go.
Absolutely. So at this point, you know, visors will be coming down, the drivers will be very focused, the spotters will have stopped talking now, all just in preparation, because in a few moments' time the very nice looking safety car will pull off and release Nicola Rocca to control the pace to the green.
Yeah, you can't miss that bright orange Mustang at Fastback, acting as our safety car for this weekend. The medical car at the back as well, which hopefully won't need to be needed, because hopefully everybody will safely get through turn number 1, which is a tight chicane. Remember, it's modelled on very similar chicane to Monza, so it's a tight right-hander followed by an even tighter left-hander. That part of the circuit having been reprofiled a few years earlier to slow the cars down. So it's a new part of the circuit. Remember, it's a new circuit for all of these drivers. Buckle up, everybody. We're about to go green for round 7 of the 2019 NASCAR Wheeling Euro Series Elite 1 division, side by side, bumper to bumper, door handle to door handle, up towards the start-finish line. The green flag waves and we're away and racing. It's a slightly better start by Loris Hazemans, but he's on the outside line as they charge their way up towards turn 1, and he's got the jump on Nicola Rocca, and Nicola Rocca's going to lose out to his teammate potentially here. Stinis Longin in towards the braking area for turn number 1. Snatch brakes from further back. It looks so everybody has, for the moment, just about avoided each other, but it's Loris Hazemans that leads the race. Nicola Rocca in 2nd place, Stinis Longin in 3rd, and Alan Day side by side with Jacques Villeneuve for 4th. But it looked like a clean start there.
Yeah, it was. Stinis Longin got a fantastic start actually, and was pushing Loris Hazemans down into turn 1, which I think helped propel him into the lead of the race. But everyone sort of behaved themselves so far. Now we see Jack has got his way past Alan into fourth, but so far, and Lucas has followed him through. Alan's over 3 wide there, so Alan's had a really terrible start as well. Yeah. But other than that, it's been a relatively clean start.
It has, yeah. Lucas Lasser going through, Thomas Ferrando going through, number 69, Michael Bleekie-Molen going through, so the number 54 Cal Racing Chevrolet finds itself down in, 8th position at the moment, and it's the Solaris Motorsport Chevy, the black and orange number 12 of Francisco Cini, that sits behind the current champion. So not the best of starts for Alan Day, but he will try and push on. Closes on the brakes onto the tail end of Michael Bleekie-Molen, who is hugely experienced but still a rookie to this championship. The start, we gather, is under investigation. We know no more than that at this stage. The officials are having a look at the start procedure, and was there any infringement there? That's for them to look at and decide on. Alan Day all over the grass. He makes another mistake coming up towards turn number 18, that was, and again it means that he's dropped into the clutches of the number 12 car of Francisco Cini, who is under pressure by the look of things from the Scandinavian number 23, Henry Tuomala, who sits behind him. Tuomala sitting in the slipstream, allows Alan Day to break away a little bit, but over the start-finish line, Loris Hazemans leads lap 1 of the race. Well, that is probably, I would imagine, I've been watching the NASCAR Wheeling Euro Series for a good few years now. That's probably one of the worst first laps that I think I've seen Alan Day have, really. It really didn't work for him.
No, I think I can't recall seeing him go backwards ever off the start, but I think he was assisted. I wouldn't entirely say that was all his fault, but as you can see, the lead 3 are already building the gaps to the rest of the field, and you see Jack and Lucas really trying to follow. Behind them, though, it's just everybody else, really. The gaps are really stable. We'll keep an eye on Francesco. That 12 is a quick race car for sure, but obviously Alan is now going to be making some moves up the field as well. There's
Sebastian Bleekie-Molen, rather. Michael's his father, that races in Elite 2 under pressure from Alan Day. The top 3, as you say, sprinting away at this stage. Hendricks Motorsport leads. It's a PK Car Sport car in 2nd and 3rd place. Go Fast Racing by way of Jacques Villeneuve sits there in 4th place. So it's Ford from Chevy And what did you see there, Ben?
Oh, I've just seen the Elite 1 driving the 70 car, one of my teammates, Salva. He's had a good start as well, making up, I think, 4 places off his starting position as well. So.
Well spotted, yeah. Salvador Tinio Arroyo, who joins Mirko Schultis behind the wheel of the number 70 over the course of this weekend. He now up into the top 14, having started in 17th position. The race leader sprinting away. There was almost 1 second advantage between Loris Hazemans and Nicola Rocca. Look at this, Luca Lasser now under pressure from the charging Thomas Ferrando, who has got right behind him number 54 Alan Day, who now is starting to try make inroads into the cars ahead. Do you think maybe in these warm conditions they perhaps started with lower tyre pressures in Alan Day's car to try and bring it on as the race wears on, maybe?
Yeah, I think that would have been the case for everyone, really. As you can see, that lap actually Alan got past Sebastian Bleekie-Molen as well, as he now goes for a move on Thomas Ferrando. But yeah, I think for sure everyone will be running lower tyre pressures because they know that the temperatures are going to increase in the tyres and in the track as the day goes on. There's a bit of dust in the background there, but yeah, for sure everything's going to be a lot lower than what we've seen this weekend so far.
It looks like, yeah, 1 place game there. That is Thomas Ferrando, who was lost out there. So the Elite 2 champion from 2017, losing out to the reigning Elite 1 champion, who is now starting to close in on the number 33 car in the hands of Luca Lasser. Luca was a champion back in 2009, 2010. Before the affiliation with NASCAR, which started in 2012. So the 2 former champions, both double champions, going at it at this stage, whilst Loris Hazemans looks to try and sprint away in the lead of the race. Loris Hazemans leading the Junior Trophy as well at this stage. Junior Trophies for drivers 25 and under that enter the Elite 1 Championship. Nicola Rocca in 2nd place is eligible for that as well. Stevie Slongin in 3rd place, and now Alan Day again looking to try and pull a move there, but through turn number 15, is that an overtaking point there, turn number 15? Not really, I would have thought, so he might save it until the braking area for turn number 20, Ben.
Yeah, I think that would be a more logical move, you know, Alan just sort of taking his time. We've seen him do that before. He's been very sort of careful not to do any damage to his car, but you see, I think, as you see, he does have a look up the inside of Lucas there, but it is an overtaking move, but there is a very, very short braking zone, so you've either got to fully commit or don't wait till turn 1, because it is, because of the nature of the corner, slightly off cambered as well, so it will provide a great challenge trying to keep everything smooth and clean and not lose too much time if you do go for a move there.
He picks up the slipstream of Luca Lasser as they come over the start-finish line. He grabbed a place on Thomas Ferrando into the braking area for turn number 1 last time through. Can he gain another place this time through as Loris Hazemans continues to increase his lead at this stage? He is 2.1 seconds to the good, is Loris Hazemans.
We got told that Alan's messed the chicane there at the start as well, so that's actually released Lucas actually as well. So that'll take the pressure off him for sure. So I'm not entirely sure what happened there between Alan and Lucas. Maybe about Lucas break a wee bit earlier, maybe. Not entirely sure, but I can say Hazeman's not just pulling away at the front. The Hendricks cars have been so fast all weekend. You know, they were well prepared coming here for sure. You know, they had a testing before, so we always knew they'd be quick. But you can see PK Cosgrove, they're there as well. But the gap between third and fourth already is enormous.
It is, yeah, it really has opened up, isn't it? It's almost a 3-second gap between Stanis Longines in third place and Jacques Villeneuve, who sits there in fourth place. We ought to say leading the Challenger Trophy, which is for bronze and silver graded drivers that enter the Elite One Championship, is down in 10th place at the moment. Number 23 for that number 23 car is the Memphis Racing car of the Finnish driver Henri Tumala. He is the leading Challenger driver. The leading junior driver is the overall race leader. You can see the nose of the car dip again on the Ford that leads the race. Chevy's in second and third, and in fourth position there goes Alan Day. Well, he lost out really on the attack that he was trying to make on Luca Lasser. He'll have to gather his thoughts and his problems.
Rear left puncture, yeah.
So problems for Alan Day, a rear left puncture for the championship leader. Alan Day, his worst finish so far this year was fourth place at Valencia. And yeah, he's limping around the circuit. And that is going to be a bitter pill to swallow for him, Ben. He will know the implication that could have to his championship. Yeah, that's not ideal at all. Stanis Longines will hear that news, and he'll relax a bit, you know. He'll maybe take some pressure off his teammate because he now knows that he'll have the championship lead at the end of this race. So a big disaster for Alan, but obviously that's not his season over for sure, with the playoffs still to come. But if you see more content, actually that's one of my teammates going round as well. Everyone behaved themselves off the start, but it seems to be getting a bit more lively now because we've seen a few cars off now and a bit more dust kicking up. But for Alan, that's far from ideal, but he'll fight back tomorrow. Is that one of his new tyres, or is it not? Let's have a quick look what happened. Okay. Salvador Tinio Arroyo tipped into a spin there by Romain Iniesta, so the officials will have a look at that, but it certainly looked as though there was contact between Chevy and Ford there. Absolutely, for my money. Yeah. So Loris Hazeman's leads the race. What he won't want now is a safety car to come out at this stage. Tinio Arroyo will drop from 9th all the way down through the order, and Romain Iniesta must have just gained a place there over Alexander Graf before the contact, because they're showing sort of 9th and 11th, weren't they, on the graphic there? Yeah, he must have. It looks like Iniesta maybe got up the inside of Alexander Graf into turn 1, and we didn't really see on that replay very much what happened, but for sure for Salva that's going to be a big disappointment, all the way up to 9th from, I believe, 17th on the grid he was. So that's a fantastic start for him, so obviously he's going to be disappointed, but he's got to hold his head up high. Till then he was driving a great race. So over the start-finish line comes our race leader. Another lap chalked into the book for our race leader, which is Loris Hazemans. And as Stanis Longines has dropped right off in the back of his teammate as well, actually. Can't see him in shot right now. I wonder if something's gone on there, or if he has indeed backed off. There's actually debris on it, turn 1 as well. Yeah, as I thought, we'll lock up his Stanis there, but he has indeed backed off from the back of his teammate because he now knows he can just relax to the end of the race. And Nicola Rocca running wide there as well, so maybe the warm conditions, depending on what tyres the drivers have opted for, warmer conditions tomorrow, you maybe use the newer tyre. The slightly cooler conditions today, use the carryover tyre, but maybe even they are struggling in these difficult conditions. So with the race still going the way of Loris Hazemans from Nicola Rocca there, driver that we are concentrating on in second position. Third at the moment is Stanis Longines, and fourth still Jacques Villeneuve at this stage, but in very NASCAR Whelen Euro Series fashion, the gaps are quite large between them. The one to watch out for me at the moment is the gap between first and second, because I think Nicola Rocca is catching the race leader. It does look a wee bit like it as well, and actually we just saw that Thomas Ferrando's actually gotten his way past Lucas as well, so interesting to see what happened there. But there is quite a few cars actually with a bit of damage on them, so it's for sure there's a lot going on now. Everything's sort of starting to pick up a bit. But yeah, the tyres are going to be getting quite hot now, So the way it'll work tomorrow is that they'll take the tyres off the cars and rotate them round. So the fronts will become the rears, and they'll basically cross them diagonally. Swap them rear, yes. It's the same size front and rear, isn't it? Absolutely, yeah. That's one of the advantages that we have with all four corners being the same size of tyres. So it means that the cars will hopefully be a wee bit better than what you'd expect at the start of tomorrow, because the tyres will not have the same load on them again. And what about the sort of the corner weights of the car as well? You're able to work with, of course, with the new spring and damper that's been introduced for this year. Does that give you better ability to sort of equalise the corner weights on the cars now?
You can do, yeah. Trying to sort of balance that out isn't easy, as we see Sini's lunging one right there. Actually, everybody is now just to avoid the debris, but Jacques Villeneuve's actually gone missing. Thomas Ferrando now up into 4th by the looks of things. Lucas still holding 5th, so where Jacques Villeneuve has disappeared to, we are yet to see, but as you can see, Sini's lunging is there in 3rd, so obviously there's a lot going on that we didn't see, and maybe that contact with Alan Day had something to do with Jacques Villeneuve as well. So
yeah, quite possibly so. Unfortunately, we've lost our timing screen, so we have no timing screen available in the commentary box at the moment. We've got the pictures and nothing else other than that at the moment. We'll try and see whether we can resolve that issue. But it looks as though, all right, we've got the same now, have we? Thomas Ferrando is up into 4th place. That will bring Luca Lasser up through the order, as it will the number 69 car of Sebastian Bleekemolen. In fact, where is Jacques Villeneuve? He is not showing at all, is he? He has really tumbled down through the order. Luca Lasser under pressure from number 69, Sebastian Bleekemolen. Now, Sebastian Bleekemolen, another driver with huge amounts of experience, a multiple Clio Cup champion, both in Belgium and in Europe. In the European Championship, and he is looking to try and put the double champion, the Frenchman, under pressure as they turn their way round through turn number 18 up towards turn number 19. The officials have looked into the start. Remember, that was under investigation, we told you. It has been deemed as being legal. No issues with the start, no further action is the information. 3-car train fighting away just behind these two here, so Luca Lasser and Sebastian Bleekemolen fighting away, but then 3 cars behind that, Francisco Sini, Henry Tuamala and Alexander Graf, who are being reeled in by the look of things by Gianmarco Ercoli, who wants to join in the fun as well. Good squabbles. Yeah,
absolutely. So as you can see, obviously Thomas Ferrando obviously managed to get past Lucas in the midst of all the chaos with Alan Day. But so you see Lucas is managing the gap now to Bleekemolen behind him, and as you can see, everyone is beginning to sort of close up to each other. But right now everyone's sort of staying well put, and actually it looks like Lucas has actually expanded the gap a wee bit through the first corner. But as you can see there, you've got the racing engineering cars behind trying to latch onto the back of this train as well.
Yeah, so that's 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th and 9th positions. We've got the timing back now. It was broken everywhere, I gather, so they have worked on it. They have fixed it, and now I gather, yeah, we saw he'd gone missing. Jacques Villeneuve, we didn't see it on the camera, has headed towards the pits. So he's not the only car that's gone into the pit lane, because the Japanese driver Kenko Miura for Alex Cafe Motorsport is also in the pit lane somewhere as well. And Alan Day, who we saw limp into the pits with that flat tyre, is back out there, Ben, but the damage is largely done, isn't it? He's still out there and circulating, which is good for him, because points go all the way down to 40th position.
Yeah, exactly. So Alan will still recover some points from this race, as actually we see Nicola Roccas at the fastest lap of the race last lap. He is closing in on the race leader Loris Hazelmans. But yeah, so Alan will just be trying to recover what he can from trying to salvage some points. You know, it's not ideal, but points are points.
Points absolutely are points. Look at this squabble that is going on behind. It looks as though Luca Lasser has got away a little bit from Sebastian Bleekemolen now, but Francisco Sini, Henry Tuamala, Alexander Graf and Gianmarco Ercoli are all together. Then we get the number 48 car in the hands of 3-times champion Ander Villarino, returning to the championship this year. Ander Villarino, the most successful driver in terms of championships with 3, and in terms of wins as well. He is on 22 career wins in the NASCAR Wheel and Euro Series. Over the start-finish line they'll go. That's another lap chalked into the book. So 8 laps to go. Onto the brakes, up towards turn number 1. 4 cars fighting over what will be, what's that going to be, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th and 10th position. Another train behind them. Francisco Sini going well. He'll be desperate to try and get a good result here if he can. He has only had a couple of top 10s so far this year. We've not seen the Solaris Motorsport car on the podium, have we, in the hands of the Italian, but he's working hard.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, so they are a new team. Obviously they came in the start of last season, and they are making brilliant progress. You can't take that away from them, you know. So they are working forward to hopefully try and get Francesco into a position where he can challenge the podiums. But right now this entire train are closing in on one another, but they're all sort of staying very formally and one behind the other.
Yeah, I think the best result he's had is a 7th place at Franciacorta, and what will that be, a 9th position as well by the look of things for him. So he is pushing as hard as he possibly can as they turn their way up towards the braking area for turn number 15. Bits of debris flying off the back of Alan Day's car, and that is as a result of the damaged bodywork from the puncture, and he's heading back into the pit lane actually. So Alan Day, having shed the rear bodywork, is now heading back down pit road.
Yeah, exactly. So Alan obviously more damage to that car than initially thought. He nearly did spin there, so that's why he's probably played it safe to go back into the pits again. But the gap between the leaders is now sort of beginning to stabilise again. So obviously Hazeman has responded and he's been made aware of the pace that Nicola Rocca has. Other than that, behind them again, everyone managing the gap, and actually between this lap and last, the gaps at all haven't changed in the slightest. So everyone is sort of very similar to each other right now. You know, 143s all the way down the field, all the way as far as Romanietta.
Yeah, they're all lapping very consistently, aren't they? 1.8 seconds is the gap first to second place. So it did actually come down by a quarter of a second on that lap. Maybe Nicola Rocca pushing hard. He gets too hot, car gets too hot, tyres get too hot, and then you have to ease things off again, and all of that hard work you've done sort of comes unravelled again as a consequence of pushing to close it up in the first place. We simply don't know, but wouldn't surprise me if that's the case in what are blisteringly hot conditions here, and as we say, scheduled to peak at 37 to 38 degrees Celsius tomorrow here in the northern part of the Czech Republic. Here comes the fight that is going on just outside of the top six. Number 77, Alexander Graf, looking to try and keep Gianmarco Ercoli behind him. So Chevy fighting away with Ford. Henry Tuamala has taken a bit of a breather and has dropped off the tail end of those two cars as dust is raised directly ahead of them. Somebody running a little bit wide. There is a drive-through penalty for number 88. That is Romain Iniesta for causing a collision with Salvador Tinio Arroyo. The race officials have had a look at it, and I suspect, you know, similar view to us in that he tagged the tail end of Salvador Tinio Arroyo, and you've got to accept the punishment then. Yeah, absolutely. You know, it's not ideal for either driver involved, but you know, there was a clear hit there, so a penalty was issued. So other than that, there'll be nothing more to it. He'll serve his penalty, and everyone will move on. But this battle going on that we see has actually released Francesco Cini, who's actually beginning to gap the two behind him now as they both run wide. They're coming onto the main straight, so it's taking a bit of pressure off him as he's actually on course to match his best ever finish. But and as you can see as well, the gap between these two also balancing out as well. Really, everyone sort of just behaving themselves in single file. Snatch breaks from Alexander Graf as he tries to hold off the aspirations of Gianmarco Ercoli. It also looks as though Sebastian Bleekie-Molen has caught back up with your car again. Luca Lasser, they had gapped each other for what was going to be 5th and 6th position. So there goes Tomo Ferrando. There is Luca Lasser behind the wheel of the number 33 car, and right with him now is the Team Bleekie-Molen Ford, the white and light blue with the pink tail end to it in the hands of Sebastian Bleekie-Molen. Nice and neat and tidy through turn number 10, up towards then the fast sweeps at turn 11 and 12, and then turn 13, which I think a lot of the drivers like, just coming up now the right-hander, the fastest corner on the circuit. That must put a smile on your face, turn 13. It is, yeah. Not when it goes wrong, but when it goes right, you see both cars are running a wee bit wide. It's a very enjoyable corner. You can put full throttle as soon as you clip that apex, you know, so there's so much grip there. And yeah, the cars rotate really nicely through there, so it's a fun corner to drive indeed. The lead gap is back down to 1.5 seconds, and Nicola Rocca is pushing on this lap again. He took 0.2 of a second out of Loris Hasemans for the lead of the race in the first sector. He took 3/4 of a second out of him in the second sector, and he's just set the fastest second sector time in the race so far. So whilst we're concentrating on the squabble for 5th and 6th position, the race lead is very much coming down. They've got over the start-finish line, and there's now just 1.4 seconds between them, because I think Loris Hasemans saw Nicola Rocca coming and pushed ever harder in the third sector and gained 0.3 of a second back over the closing car behind him. So the gap's shuffling around, but it's Loris Hasemans from Nicola Rocca, from Stinis Longines, ahead of Tomo Ferrando, and then this battle, Luca Lasser making a very small mistake there, and that allows Sebastian Bleekie-Molen to get alongside, but coming out of the corner, he isn't going to have the advantage, is he? But chink in the armour there, wasn't there, for Luca? Yeah, I mean, that just shows that even the tiniest mistakes could have massive consequences. You know, Lucas was able to sort of recover that nicely with the nature of that chicane, but any other corner, really, and that would have been Sebastian to the taking, you know? So little mistakes like that are very easy to come about. You know, the brakes on these cars are very sensitive indeed. So what will happen there to Lucas was just his front right tyre just unloaded a slight bit going into the corner, so nothing too serious, but as you can see, even something that small could have a big effect on his race. As a question, I don't know the answer, but you'll be able to tell me, I'm sure. As the race wears on and the tyres then act differently to they did at the beginning of the race, do you find yourself as a driver adjusting the brake bias to try and, you know, if you're struggling in one corner, to try and shift the braking ability of the car to a different part? You can, but you don't really want to be changing about the setup of your car too much, you know, especially in this heat. All your focus will have to go into driving the car, so I don't think there'll be many changes going on in this race. It did happen a lot in Brands Hatch, especially due to the nature of some of those corners.
Here I don't think will be the case, as all the braking zones here are nice and straight and stable. As we can see now, and Lucas has gapped Sebastian again, so obviously putting the foot down a bit after making that mistake. But yeah, so a couple of cars will make changes, but not as much as I think you would see in other places.
Okay, the laps are ticking off. 5 laps now to go. Over the start-finish line comes the battle for 5th and 6th position. Luca Lasser now starting to break away again, a shade more from Sebastian Bleekie-Molen. Francesco Cini in the orange and black car behind, not making inroads for this pair that lie ahead. Onto the brakes. This was where Luca Lasser made the mistake last time through. He brakes that a little bit earlier this time to avoid making the mistake, but by braking earlier, it allows Sebastian Bleekie-Molen to close up still onto the coattails of the Frenchman. So it's the Frenchman ahead of the Dutchman, with the Italian Francesco Cini not that far behind. You can see already disappearing out of camera shot goes Tomo Ferrando in 4th position, as we still concentrate on 5th and 6th. The gap first to second, by the way, is now 1.5 seconds and seems to have stabilised at that. This man here, Loris Hazemans, leads the race. We've only ever seen one career win for Loris Hazemans in the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series Elite 1 division. That came back in September of 2018, and at the moment he seems to have everything under control. He could be heading towards win number 2 of his career.
Oh, the commentator cars, don't say that. But yeah, so far he has the race under control, but for sure he's not going to let off, because Nicola Rocca will pounce at the first chance he gets. He got that pole position, he will want to try and convert that, but for either of these two it will be a first win this season, regardless of how this pays out. So yeah, for sure the pressure is going to begin to mount now on Loris, as he desperately will try to manage that gap to Nicola, but right now he's doing everything he has to do. So
you could see the cars sliding around as they came through turn number 20 and turn number 21. Big locked brakes. And that's the problem. That is a big puncture.
No, that's an engine failure.
Is the engine gone, is it?
That's an engine, yeah.
That has gone in a significant way, right on the racing line as well at turn number 1. And what a shame for Loris Hazemans. Nicola Rocca avoid skittering through.
Yeah, there's fire in the back, look.
It is, yeah, a little bit of overrun on the exhaust, isn't it, more than anything. I think Stinis Longin hit the oil there and had to go straight on at the chicane. So that's right on the racing line. That's going to cause problems for everybody. Could bring about a safety car.
And we saw Thomas Rando also there as well.
Yeah.
He also missed the corner, so that's going to bring Lucas and Sebastian and that train behind them all right into it as well. So now the fire does start on the back of the 50 car. So that is a dream scenario for Nicola Rocca. He's not going to want to win a race like that. But again, a win is a win. He will take it, but he's not going to be as satisfied with the fact that it will be handed to him if this race stays green. But considering the number of cars we just saw there at turn 1, I doubt it will.
That is such a shame for Loris Hazemans, who is about to clamber out of the number 50 Ford Mustang. There was so much smoke so quickly coming from the tail end of the car. I thought it was a tyre that had deflated significantly or something like that. But yeah, you're absolutely right, Ben. That is a significant engine failure. Makes you wonder whether there was just one of those things, or whether he missed a downshift or something like that. We don't know.
Instead of going from 4th to 3rd, he went from 4th to 1st. That has happened before. It could be a small mistake. Obviously, we have no idea. But obviously, that's a crushing defeat for Loris Hazemans. And obviously, the safety car is deployed as well. There you go. You can see the boards there. So that's going to bring everything right back again. And it could put us in a scenario for a green-white checker, depending on how long the clear-up takes, which would be a very entertaining way to end this race. But that's going to have a big influence as well on his teammate Giorgio Maggi, who I believe is on pole position in Elite 2. Yeah,
he is on pole position for the Elite 2 race. So if that's a total engine failure, which it looks like, they've got their work cut out, haven't they, to change the engine, ready for the race for Elite 2 later on.
Exactly. You know, I mean, the 12 car, the Solaris Motorsport car, had the same problem in Brands Hatch in qualifying.
Yeah.
And we didn't see that car again until Sunday, you know. So
that's right, yeah. Navetala, wasn't it, had the engine blow?
It was, yeah. And Navetala, he just had an engine failure, which was out of his control. You know, that wasn't driver error at all. And, you know, that took him and Francesco out of both Saturday races. Obviously, both drivers, obviously, with the fresh tyres that they then had, recovered very, very well on Sunday. But obviously, that's not ideal for anyone involved.
And that's why in this race, there was a gap on the grid where we should have had number 1, Christophe Bouchou for Alex Caffey Racing. But in the hands of Thomas Krasinas, that car expired and had its engine blow in qualifying. So that's why we're 1 car down. So safety car out there, 3 laps to go. As you mentioned, we do have a green-white checkered available. Let's just have a quick look, onto the brakes. And all of a sudden the engine blows in the most significant way. You can see the tail end of the car as it's almost ready to spin on its own oil, isn't it?
The back of the diff actually was lifting the car up, so that the way the car moved does look like he missed 3rd gear. But obviously it's too hard to tell, but that does look like he maybe missed a gear, but at the same time, that could have just been the slightest of thing, you know.
Such a shame. You've got to feel for Loris Hazemans there, who was on course for win number 2, and I'm going to be faced with doing another one of those difficult post-race interviews with him that will appear on social media, so on Facebook and on Twitter as well. We will have a chat with that man there, who will be hugely disappointed. I always seem to get these difficult interviews this year to ask what went wrong, and we will catch up, I'm sure, with Loris Hazemans, because that's the story of the race, and we need to understand it. You can feel just how dejected he must be, can't you?
Yeah,
just look at the body language.
He looked crushed there. You know, that's going to be really upsetting for him. Obviously, for both the cars now, 1, 2, and 3, never won a race this year, so this is going to be a first for anyone. Lucas did get himself up to 3rd because Thomas Ferrando, again, like Stinus Longines, missed the foot chicane, probably because he locked up in some oil or something. So Lucas gained out of that his 2 positions, so he's going to be, again, pleased with the outcome. Not the best pleased on how he gained it, but again, it's put him in a really good position. So
well, in theory, might they reorder? So they'll go back to the lap before the safety car came out and reorder?
They might do. Lucas would still be on the same row. I would just put him on the other side. So really, he would only lose 1 position if they did do a reorder, but it's not going to make any difference to him whatsoever. And actually, that would then put him behind Stinus Longines, who, going off his recent form of starts, I'm not sure he'd be too disappointed about. Stinus has been brilliant at all the starts and restarts all season. He's had a fantastic either reaction or just he's better at putting the power down. We've never seen his car have a bad start this season.
And where is Stinus Longines at the moment? Bearing in mind he's finished 2nd on 4 separate occasions. Where is he in the race? Second, yeah. It's his favourite position. Well, he would like first to be his favourite position, but he seems to be stuck in second. Ever the bridesmaid this year is Stinus Longines. Say his wife expecting a baby in I think about 6 weeks' time. Rather conveniently, we don't have a race in August, and that's when his first baby is due.
Makes sense now, doesn't it? Yeah, it just all comes together. But it's not going to be at the stage yet where Stinus is going to be bored of coming in 2nd place. He's going to let someone pass so he can at least finish somewhere else. But he's going to want to put put pressure on his teammates. Sorry, but you know, this is going to be a really exciting end. If you're going to have 2 teammates going for the win, you're going to have cars behind trying to pick up the pieces if it goes wrong and put pressure on themselves. So if Alan Day can get himself back out, which we haven't seen, it means that he will make places as well. But he's gone into the pits and we haven't seen him since, so we never actually saw what happened to them, did we? You know, Alan and Jacques Villeneuve both just disappeared.
We didn't see Jacques Villeneuve. We saw Alan Day shed the bumper and then go back into the pit lane area. It looks like we are reordering, so yeah, Thomas Ferrando now moves back into 3rd place. Luca Lasser, who gained the place, moves back down to 4th, so the reordering taking place. You can see Henry Tourmala there, the number 23 car. He must have been another that skipped the chicane and lost a lot of time, so he's working his way back up into contention. So he go back to the order that they were running the lap before the safety car came out. So we are reordering the field here with 2 laps to go. We may well have our first green-white checkered of the season. We've got one opportunity at it. Depends how much longer they've got to recover the car and potentially treat the oil as well, because if there's oil right on the racing line at turn number 1, they can't leave it. They've got to deal with it, haven't they, and put down some quick dry.
They absolutely have to. I think now it's eminent that we're going to have a green-white checker now to finish this race. But obviously that'll be entertaining as well, because there's going to be a lot of dust going into turn 1 as well. So obviously, when the cars do charge down there on the restart, they will kick up a lot of dust or whatever it is that they have put down, so it's going to cause visibility problems for the cars further down the order. But as you can see now, everyone bunched right back up again, and there, I would say any car in the top 6 or 7 we could see win this race, because green-white checkers, obviously, as we've seen over in America, always cause massive drama, and if that is anything to go by, as we've always seen dramatic finishes here, I would, as far down as maybe Henry Tourmala, any one of them could win this race.
It's going to be a belter, that is absolutely for sure. And amazing, I'm just having a quick look through the statistics. These laps under safety car are the first laps that Nicola Rocca has led all year. We've had laps led by Alan Day, by Ander Villarino, by Stinus Longines, by Fred Gabion and by Loris Hazemans, but under safety car, these are the first laps that Nicola Rocca has led all season. He'll want to lead some under full racing conditions and might get the opportunity to do that once we get back green again very, very shortly here. So we are seeing the cars under safety car heading round through turn number 10. This cameraman at turn number 10 is a star for me, because he's got a fantastic view, highly elevated on the platform, but he's got a difficult job of panning through a full 360 degrees to pick up all of the action through turn 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 and part the way down towards turn number 14, which is a very slight left-hand kink. So he's covering nearly half of the corners at Most. He's a busy chap, isn't he?
That is a brilliant camera positioning there. You know, it gives us a great view and a great perspective on the sheer size of this track, but also it obviously means we can cover a lot of what's going on without having to jump between these cameras as well.
I know, a bit like you, it's my first visit here to Most. I'm impressed with the circuit. I really like the circuit. The facilities are beautiful. The backdrop that you have to the circuit is very, very picturesque as well. It's a very pretty country, the Czech Republic. But also, I'm hugely impressed with the amount of fans that have turned out for this weekend. It's just the first day of racing. It's busy. It's busy.
It's very busy indeed, yeah. You know, and I'm saying this is my favourite track that we've come to this season as well, you know. So, and I know that's the same for a lot of drivers.
We have gathered that we may. It is the option to go green, white, checkered. That option is up to the officials and the race director up in race control, and we gather they are not going to utilise green, white, checkered. We are going to finish under safety car here, is what we gather. Which, as you suggested, you know, it's not the way Nicola Rocca would like to win the race, but potentially a win is a win. We haven't seen the checkered flag fly yet. You know, let's not prejudge what may still happen or may not happen, but. It's not a nice way to end a race under safety car, not a nice way to get the win in reality, but Nicola Rocca will take it because it's championship points. He
will indeed, and I'm just hearing here that apparently there is too much oil on the track, so
doesn't surprise me.
It looks highly unlikely that we will restart the race. That's where the likes of, I think, Lucas will be very disappointed, because obviously he gained out of that, obviously managing to get his car stopped for the corner, got the move done, but he's now going to miss out on a spot on the podium due to the reordering.
Yeah.
So he's going to be very disappointed about that. But you know, he's made place from he's made up ground from where he started. But to have his podium taken away from him for the simple reordering, he's not going to be best pleased by that at all. But you know, again, for Thomas Rando, brilliant drive from him. So you can't take that. You can't take that away from Thomas.
Thomas will be absolutely chuffed with that. It's been a difficult season really for Thomas Ferrando, who finds himself 18th in the championship standings, and his best finish of the year is just sneaking inside to the top 10. And other than that, any other result has been tough to come by for the former Elite 2 champion. So with one lap to go, they head around the final tour of the circuit. As we say, we'll wait till the checkered flag comes out. But the information that's found its way to us is that we will finish under safety car here, because on this racing line, you can see even under safety car, they're staying off the line, aren't they? Staying off the oil. Yeah, you could actually see there on the track the oil. Just saying that, sitting there, you saw the teams from PK Carsport and Cal Racing there on the pit wall celebrating, because it is, I believe, the first ever 1-2 for PK Carsport, and for Thomas Rando, obviously that car now being run by Cal Racing this weekend instead has found his way onto the podium as well. So both teams very, very pleased indeed. And you know, for Nicola Rocca, he did everything he had to do. He was there when it mattered to pick up the pieces. Obviously, we've said many times, it's not how he's going to want to win. But when things went wrong for the car in front of him, he was there to utilise on it when it mattered. So it's a very well-deserved win, and he's done everything right in this race. Yeah, and with Alan Day way down through the order, potentially we may well, at the end of this race, I haven't done the maths, but we are highly likely to have a new championship leader, one would have thought, but we'll wait for the official maths to be done, because I think it will probably put Stinis Longin into the lead of the championship. Nicola Rocca up to second, potentially, and Alan Day might drop down through the order. Alan Day started, so he will be given points, but I believe actually, and with the way that they currently are, Alan may hold on by 1 point. It looks as actually, it goes down by 1 point every time. So yeah, by counting on the live timing here, Alan Day will have the lead of the championship by 1 single point. We can tell you've just done your maths GCSE or whatever the equivalent is in Scotland in the recent weeks, because your maths was a lot quicker than me there, Ben. Yeah, I just counted on the standings from Stinis Longin to Alan Day, but yeah, so Alan Day will actually retain the championship lead. By the skin of his teeth. By the skin of his teeth, yeah. So Stinis Longin will now be up to 242 points, and this is actually the fourth win for Nicola Rocca. It is, yeah, the fourth win for Nicola Rocca. The last time he claimed one was on the 13th of September in 2015. So it's been a while. He will be very pleased indeed. The man from Turin in Italy, who qualified on pole position, is heading towards a maximum 40 points here in round 7 of the 2019 Elite 1 division of the NASCAR Wheel and Euro Series, through turn 20 under safety car for the final time. The safety car peels its way into the pit lane. matters not, because we are not going green, white, checkered, we have heard. So checkered flag will be shown as they come over the start-finish line this time through. The drivers will have been made aware of that from their spotters, and the correct decision with all of that oil there as well. It would have taken forever to clear it up. So Nicola Rocca comes through to make it a PK Car Sport 1-2 for himself and Stinis Longin, who finishes in second position. It was 1,386 days ago that Nicola Rocca claimed his last win. That is 3 years, 9 months and 17 days since his last win. He will be probably not happy with the way it's come about, but without question he's going to have a smile on his face, because that really moves him to the sharp end of the championship. It's only 32 points adrift of Alan Day coming into this. The gap's closed, isn't it?
Absolutely, you know, so he's going to be ecstatic with that result, very well earned, and I think a lot of the drivers actually will be pleased with the outcome of this race. So it was an entertaining one for sure, but not the way we would have liked to see it finish.
Yeah, a real shame, really. Not only does he claim the win, but he also picks up the junior trophy as well for drivers 25 years and under at the beginning of the season. Nicola Rocca, he is now exactly 25 years of age, and let's see as to what the reaction is when we have a chat to him at the end of this race. Stinis Longin finishing in second position, his 5th second place of the season. He's had 5 seconds, he's had a 4th, and he's had a 7th position. So consistent scoring, and as you'll know, you've been around motorsport for a long period of time, but obviously new to racing for car racing for this year. Consistency is what wins championships, and Stinis, you look at the moment the stats, he's consistent. He's the most consistent driver we've had out there.
Absolutely, you know, so right now obviously he is only now, I believe, 1 point off the championship lead and hasn't taken a win yet this season. So consistency is key to a good result come the end of the season, you know. So that is exactly the job that Stinis needed to do. Moving up 1 place, obviously could have been more, but I guess due to the outcome of that race, we'll never.
And that car there, number 27, Tomo Ferrando, completes the podium as well. So he will be as pleased as punch with that. What's been a difficult season for Tomo Ferrando. Only one finish inside the top 10. He's now on the podium for the first time. And for the former Elite 2 champion, who lies 18th in the championship standings coming into this one, it's a big haul of points for him. We ought to say that winning the Challenger Trophy for the bronze and the silver graded drivers that enter Elite 1 is Henry Tuomala, the Finnish driver at the wheel of the number 23 Memphis Racing Chevy. So he finished down in 8th position, as you can see there on your screen. So Nicola Rocca takes the win. Stinis Longin was second, Tomo Ferrando third, ahead of Luca Lasser in 4th place, and Sebastian Bleekemolen in 5th place. Francisco Cine, Gianmarco Ercoli, Henry Tuomala, Alexander Graf and Ander Villarino complete the top 10 ahead of Ulysse Delceau, Martin Dubec, Eric Dodonka, Ellen Law, Mario Trioni, Salvador Tinio Arroyo, Fred Gabion and Romain Enietta were the last of the finishers. Problems for Loris Hazemans, problems for Alan Day. Dario Carzo did take the checkered flag, but was a long way of drift after problems, and it was Jacques Villeneuve and Kenko Miura who also had issues. So as you can see, the relative gaps between them all tight in the end, purely because that's timed as they came over the start-finish line at the end of 17 laps of racing, the last 4 or 5 under the safety car. But as you see, the top of the table, a PK Car Sport 1-2. And at the bottom of that screen, number 1, Christophe Bouchou. That car didn't take the start as a result of the engine having blown during qualifying. And also number 66, Lassie Sorensen, who was scheduled to race both Elite 1 and Elite 2, but has opted just to compete in Elite 2 this weekend because he wants to concentrate and focus on the championship. So there is the race winner, the 4 times now race winner in the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series. Nicola Rocca heads towards victory lane here at Most, or Autodrome Most, in the Czech Republic, and for the first ever Czech Grand Prix. Apologies for the pictures there, ladies and gentlemen, which are just breaking up at that part of the podium. He will be very pleased indeed with that. Little bit of clearing up to be done before we can get one of the support races out next. We will also gauge some reaction, I'm sure, from Nicola Rocca down there in victory lane. But after a hard race, Ben Creaner, they'll be pleased to get out of the cars. The adrenaline will still be pumping. It's in another 5 or 10 minutes time where then you start to feel the effects of the hard racing you've just done.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I haven't even been driving anything, so these guys are going to be absolutely exhausted now. So it was in relative terms, it was a good clean race, as we see We've seen how Nicola Rocca get out the car, and yeah, very pleased with that, absolutely. And he should be, you know, it's a very strong drive from him. I saw a really good drive as well from Andrea Villarino as well. And Francesco Cini also making his career best finish there. He did get up to 6th in the end as well.
He did get up to 6th place for Francesco Cini, yep, so that is his best result of the season so far. Francesco Cini, there is Bert Longines, who is, I'm sure, has been on spotting duties for PK Car Sport. We've seen Bert in this championship for many a year indeed. He's still a very quick racer, racing largely in the Belcar Championship nowadays. His son Stinis has just finished 2nd in that race. He's the first to go over and congratulate Nicola Rocca. There is another former frontman in this championship, Anthony Kumpen, who is the man that is behind PK Car Sport, the team manager in reality, and you can see that Nicola Rocca receiving the congratulations of all of the team there down in Victory Lane. It is a team sport, Ben, isn't it? I mean, Nicola Rocca has the hard work to do when the lights go out, but he couldn't do it without a good set of guys and girls behind him to put the car together in the first place.
Absolutely. PK Car Sport are having a fantastic season. You know, both cars have run flawlessly in both divisions as well. They're doing everything that they have to right now as well. And, you know, that's what matters. You know, in Elite 2, obviously, you've got the likes of Andre Castro, who is definitely one of the unluckier drivers, considering the number of second places that he's had. So second seems to be quite an nice tradition to PK Cars, but they've had a lot of them this season, you know. But yeah, there you go, big celebrations, and I think rightly so, because that was a flawless drive from him.
Don't drop him. Whatever you do, don't drop him. We need him for another race tomorrow. So, a brave man, Nicola Rocca, putting his health in their hands and his safety in the hands of the American football team there. And you can see him just sort of squinting there. You can see physically how tough that race was. And we are going to grab a quick word with him very shortly. A well-earned glug of water. Try and cool down the core temperature as well. And, yeah, we can see that Nicola Rocca is ready to have a chat down there in Victory Lane with Andre. So we'll hear from our race winner.
Nicola Rocca, the first ever win at the Most Autodrome. Well, how do you feel?
Man, it feels so good. It feels really good, honestly. First of all, I'm really sorry for Loris, because it was a really tough race. I pushed so hard, and I guess he was pushing so hard as well, and it's such a shame that he finished that way, because I thought that I could have catch him, and then at that point it would have been better for the fans as a battle between us. But you know what, that's motorsport, and you gotta embrace it. So right now, yeah, I'm over the moon, so happy. Thanks to everyone. Pole position for tomorrow, so yeah, it feels great.
All right, your race winner, Nicola Rocca.
Fantastic to hear from our race winner, and Ben Kriener, you know, the smile on his face says that he's happy, but he very sportsmanly said, you know, that must have been tough for Loris Hazemans, and he's the first to say that, you know, he feels for him, he feels for Loris, his competitor.
You would, and I think that was very well said there from Nicola Rocca, you know. So it was very unfortunate for Loris. He was one of the few that lost out. A lot of drivers putting in a very good position there and making up positions. Obviously, Martin Dubeck was one, so the home crowd will be pleased with that. He made up quite a few positions there as well, and Ulis Delso also had a decent drive as well. So those three actually there, Villarino, Delso and Dubeck, actually had a good start.
Yeah, let's just have a quick look. The start was nice and clean, and instantly Loris Hazemans was able to take up the lead of the race from eventual race winner Nicola Rocca, with Stinis Longines slotting into 3rd, and Alan Day was going side by side with Jacques Villeneuve in the early stages. Luca Lasserre then, who was running in what was 5th position at the time, was squabbling away with the champion Alan Day, who of course ran into problems as the race went on with that flat left tyre and a little bit of body damage as a result of that, so he was able to limp his way through and into the pit lane, the championship leader. The squabbles continued further down through the order. Salvador Tinio Arroyo was tipped into a spin by Romain Iniesta, and then the problems continued for our reigning champion and the championship leader, shedding bodywork around the circuit. It brought the Cal Racing car back into the pit lane for the 2nd time in the race. Alexander Graf was being kept busy at the wheel of the Memphis Racing Chevy, fighting away with the Ford of Gianmarco Ercoli. And then as the race wore on, tyres and the temperature all started to have their effects, with snatch breaks and the battle still continuing. all the way round through the circuit. It was a great race from Sebastian Bleekie-Molen, who was pushing the back-to-back champion from 2009-2010, Luca Lasser, all of the way. The gaps closed up between them. They opened up on other laps, and all over the course of the race, they were pretty identically matched, the pair of them, until there was a snatch break from Luca Lasser. There was a possibility for Sebastian Bleekie-Molen to squeeze his way through, but it was still Chevy ahead of Ford in the end. Then towards the end of the race leader with just a few laps to go, a significant engine failure for Loris Hazemans, who looked as though he was on for win number 2 of the season, but rather disappointingly had to clamber out of the Hendricks Motorsport number 50 Ford whilst the marshals were on hand to extinguish the fire. That brought about the safety car. Meant there was a little bit of reordering to be done, but such was the oil that was on the circuit. We finished under safety car, and Nicola Rocca came through to grab what for him was his 4th win of the season as he went towards victory lane, and the time that he posted also will give him pole position for tomorrow. Thankfully, despite all the throwing up into the air for the American football team, we kept him safe, and he'll be back out there tomorrow. So, blisteringly hot conditions, Ben, for the drivers. You've got that faced with later on. I suspect for your race, if it's anything like yesterday, it might be even warmer for you. You will start in 16th position on the grid.
Yeah, not the best qualifying, but there we go. It is what it is, but yeah, it's going to be a very hot, very challenging race, so I'm very much looking forward to it.
Well, we wish you all of the best with that. Thank you for coming to join me in, I'm going to say commentary van, in what are rather warm conditions. The commentary oven might be better.
Yeah, absolutely, you know, so... there we go. Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah, the facilities are good fun here. Good fun. We've enjoyed it. So that's all for the moment from Autodrome Most. Don't forget, we've got another race coming up later on today. We have the Elite 2 division race that Ben Kriener, who's alongside me, will be in. The stream goes live if you're watching Central European Summertime at 16:45. If you're watching in the US, then it is 10:45 a.m. Eastern Summertime is when the stream goes live. The green flag will fall and the race will get underway at 5 p.m. local time, or 11 a.m. Eastern Summertime in the US. So from all of us here at Autodrome Most, enjoy a few hours away. We'll be back with you later on here for the Elite 2 race. Goodbye. Welcome to Autodromo di Franciacorta. Attached for round 6 of the 2000. Welcome to Circuit Zolder for the final round. The lights go out, the green flag flies. It's all very tight up towards turn 1. Oh, it's close and there's contact. They're side by side. When the checkered flag falls and the race is done, there's always time for celebrations.